Yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the Dollar Hour. I am Deontay Burton, aka Mr. Short Dollar himself. We got an awesome show planned for you guys tonight. We're talking about something that I think is very, very important in the business world, and that is the difference between revenue and profits. Again, we're talking about tonight the difference between revenue and profits. There are a lot of people that go into business, and I hear it a lot where they'll talk about how much money they made in sales, how much money they made, and they'll talk about that big number, what we call revenue, the sales, whatever that money coming in, but they're never looking at that bottom line number. And that bottom line number is the main determinant of everything. It's good to be selling, make, $100,000 in revenue, but if you ain't bring home any money, or you can't get certain finance to get the home or get the car or anything like that, it's not really worth it. I won't want to say it's not really worth it, but you might be doing something wrong. We got to correct.
Right.
So what I want to have tonight's show is go into depth to explain exactly what revenue is, what profit is, how you need to look at, what measures you need to take, and understand the gravity of the importance of each one of them, okay? Mm-hmm. But again, tonight we're talking about the difference between revenue and profits. Right now we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. The main hub is the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel. And guys, I think we brought it up last week, but definitely want to bring it up again. We hit 29,000 subscribers on the Mr. Short Dollar YouTube channel.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
I want to personally just tell everybody from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate our love and support with making it that far. But definitely wouldn't have did without you guys and our support of my team here at Misfits Radio.
What's new say, and you like to thank yourself because you worked very hard to get those subscribers.
Well, anybody know me know what kind of work I put in. Right. So yeah, I'm always gonna compliment me and pat myself on the back. But before we get started, I want to say what's up to my house producer, DJ Lab.
What's going on, brothers? Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. The best day of the week. Yeah,
absolutely. Giving out all this good business information.
Good free
Why
business
do you think people don't like tune into actual business information from an actual person who does it, who has degrees in it, who knows exactly, maybe not the right formula for you, but knows a formula because he has done it before? Like, why do you think that is?
I think people want to know about business, but I think people really want to know about making money. Uh-huh. I think when you start talking about the pathway of doing certain things, it's boring.
Right.
And when you start talking about something that's probably not what they envision it being, that's when people get disinterested.
What do you think it's because the pathway seems longer than, let's just say, some of these other people who post up about money and how much quicker it seems to be to get it their way than the actual process that you be putting out? Like, you gotta do this. You gotta do this A, B, C, D step. And they like, you gotta go A, you jump all the way to D, you done, you rich.
Absolutely. Well, we live in a microwave society.
Right.
Everybody want things done now. If they can press boop, 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 boing, and it's ready.
Right.
People want that and stuff like that. But unfortunately, but unfortunately, everybody ain't that lucky.
Right.
So, to bring that point, I think that's why you see probably some of the biggest influencers that talk about finances. Most of their things are get rich quick.
Right.
It's never like, hey, if you do this and you do this and you do this, in 6 months to a year, you can have this.
Right.
That people are not interested in that.
Right.
But if I say fix or flip, scrap or do this, that, and that, people get interested in doing it. But we know, and in reality, most of the time the people say that aren't, credentialed or experienced.
Right.
What I mean by that, they ain't necessarily like, maybe an attorney or a doctor or a licensed investor.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, from an ethical standpoint, they just can't say certain things like that.
Right.
But if you get your average Joe just saying that kind of stuff, it's not hurting anything for them to say, yeah, look at my cars, look at my house.
Right.
You can have this stuff too. And I think that's what people get caught into because, again, everybody wants certain things, but the process of getting it, that's why I think people get, that's why the grant videos, everybody's so crazy about those because it's a thought process. I ask for this and I can get that, which is great. And that's why we put
I don't have to pay that back.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's great because we put the information out. I want people to take advantage of it, but I've always been the one to tell people, like, look, grants are very hard to get because there's a lot of you out there. Everybody wants free money that they don't have to pay back. So, but I think that's the reason being. Okay. But if you do it right, you stay patient with it, and you follow certain steps, I think you'll be okay in business.
Right.
But I always say it ain't for everybody.
Right.
It ain't for everybody.
Right.
And Oh, that's a give a shout out to Slick.
Nope.
Okay.
I cut you
I
off,
want to give
my
a shout out to my other producer, Slick 316. What's up, Rick?
What's going on, Rick?
Blame Lab.
Yes, my fault.
Again, guys, like I said, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok,
What's going
and
on,
Twitter.
Kizzy Rock?
What's going on now? Also I see Black Men United. What's happening, Chris? Sexy
What's going
Red
on,
Bone.
Chris?
What's going on, Chris? Hey, I talked to my dog earlier today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I see anybody coming in on TikTok.
I can't get Chris on the same page with his podcast.
Man, come on in, Chris.
He won't act right.
Aisha Davis says making money definitely on TikTok. What's up, everybody for TikTok? Tuning in and
Say
stuff.
hey to your mama. Hey, mama.
What's up, mama? What's going on? I appreciate you tuning in, mama. Again, tonight we're talking about the difference between revenue and profits. Trying to get everybody on here. Stephen Harper II, what's happening? I appreciate you tuning in, brother. Let's see if I can get
We
this.
said hey to you, Slick. We already said you talking about something like a stepchild. We
Nah.
said hey to you.
I apologize. Hey, Rick, blame it on Lab. Also, guys, if you want to add to the conversation, you got any questions about revenue and profits, feel free to call in. The call-in number is 678-740-9894. Again, the call-in number is 678-740-9894. Keep in mind, guys, we're talking about revenue and profits. Please don't call in and talk about President Trump.
What's going on, Real Insane Wayne? Appreciate you tuning in again. We appreciate it.
And again, guys, tonight we're talking about the difference between revenue and profits, guys. Like I said, call in 678-740-9894. But also remember, if you have to leave during the process or the show, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Over 1,000 videos on the YouTube channel. Also have an active grant playlist with over 150 different grant opportunities for you guys to take advantage of. We got videos for entrepreneurship, videos for finance, videos for management. A lot of the live shows we had on there. Over 1,000 videos for you guys to take advantage of. So definitely go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube and subscribe to the channel and take advantage of the great information that is on the channel.
Alton Lagarde said hello from South Florida.
What's up, Alt? What's going on?
What's going on, Al?
Man, everybody ain't blessed out there in South Florida.
Is in Miami Beach, like in
Out in Lauderdale or
South
Tampa.
Beach.
Yeah, Lauderdale or Tampa.
Oh, okay.
You know, I think Lauderdale or Tampa.
Okay.
I think in Lauderdale. We might move one of the two.
Living the dream, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We trying to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. We got but here's the difference. And in the thought process of tonight's show, we're talking about the difference between revenue and profits. You know, one of the biggest things I always tell people is, and I say it all the time, don't get traffic confused with profits.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at a video on social media. It was an influencer guy was getting people to go in the real estate industry, and it was a cool sale. Cause I always like listening. You know, with my background, I got a master in supply chain, so I'm one of them, and even undergrad in finance. So I'm a numbers person,
right?
And I always, what I do, I always say to myself, something I lose out from an aesthetic standpoint of business. But I'm always kind of looking at numbers. You know what I'm saying? How many of these I got to sell, breaking down costs and everything. But the brother was giving a good sale in regards to the real estate industry. He was just saying how much money the number one, which is it DTR, DLR, DR Horton, I think that's the number one builder in the country. He was just saying how they had made $30-some billion, and then the next tier they had made at least $3.7 billion. The next tier had made 30-some million, and you just be at the bottom something, bottom 1%, and make $3 million. Everybody like, yeah. Here's the thing, I always, like I said, that concept of never get revenue confused with profit. What's up, Trainer Cole? What's going on now? It's me _Squeak. What's going on, Tamara? One of the things I always say to people when with don't get traffic confused with profits. People will see that number. We made $3 million, but we know in business at the end of the day what you made and what you brought home is two whole different things, right? And even just in the real estate industry, like especially you start talking about from an investor standpoint, like I told you, man, hell, I'm sitting there dealing with a house right now. Those costs, you might have had these particular sales, but the money you took to get it to a certain point, how your margins are gonna be. Sometimes you might just damn break even.
That's right.
And it's like no one wants to share war stories. I never remember at one time in one of them shows like Fix or Flip or nothing. I never remember at one time somebody reporting a loss or somebody reporting an L. Like, hey man, we bought it for $50,000. We put $80,000 into it. So now they 130 in, and they sold it for 125.
Right.
I've never seen it, which is not crazy, depending on
Right.
what the market demands or whatever this, that, and that. And if you actually go down that road and we start talking about dealing with investors,
Uh-huh.
I mean, I don't know how many people, reverse with it. You start dealing with hard money lenders,
Uh-huh.
private investigators. Shit, they want money 30 days out. Well, you gotta start paying these notes.
Right.
And if anybody is really familiar with the flipping game, man, code might come out there. They might be, hey, if things aren't at a certain point, things are in stages.
If you're not grandfathered in,
yeah.
stuff.
Well, we think about it. First they come expecting the plumbing, then the electrical, then the roof, and that might be 30 days apart for each one. All the while you're paying this investor this on his note,
right?
And if you ain't 6 months of those notes put to the side, boy, you'll be in some bad shape,
right?
And I just think the vast majority of people, they look at TV, they don't think about that because they look cool, right?
Buy a house for 10,000 and make 100,000.
Yeah, and I think that when especially coming out of the pandemic, everybody had access to get those funds and stuff like that. They were looking at businesses. Everybody want to be an entrepreneur, be a business person, quit their job. I'm Ubering, I'm lifting, I'm driving trucks and stuff like that. And it's cool because I got the power of me.
Right.
We fast forward 3 or 4 years later now, everything's just a damn train wreck.
Yeah. I watched a video on YouTube. A young lady was talking about truck drive. We talked about this before on the show, and she was saying, this lease purchase thing ain't where everybody think it is. You see, if I'm not rolling, I'm not making money, and I got to pay for my own fuel. I got to pay for my own. So she was actually giving down the cons of being a truck driver and being a lease purchase, I think, on the truck. And she's like, she said, I sat in Atlanta for 4 days. I didn't make no money, but I still had money paying out because my truck was still running. I still had to do, because she lived in the truck, I still had to buy food. I still had to do certain things that I wasn't. So it was all negative. Them 4 days was a negative, income. I didn't make anything.
Well, I can go to this point. You can look at the basis of sometimes I just seen on the way to the studio, FedEx guy hopping out. He rented a U-Haul van, making deliveries. But I always know that side of the business because again, I've been in business over 20 years,
right?
So I done seen it all. You got a base rental, plus they charging mileage. So you start looking at that's your cost on the rental, mileage. Depending if you go over a certain amount, whatever, the math still got to work in regards to the amount you put in.
Right.
And I just think sometimes, and that's just from the U-Haul. I mean, from not U-Haul. It was that wasn't a U-Haul they had. That was a Home Depot's van. I think they had.
Oh, okay.
But even you go to U-Haul, Budget, those places, like they have a basic rental fee plus per mileage.
Right.
So depending on where you drive and whatever
fuel costs, because you got to fill it back up when you bring it back.
Yeah, your fuel cost, but after that cost per mile, all this stuff is tallying up, and now you got that number. Then you get your check for what you did, and that check is not coming out per day. Just say if it's like a week or so delay or a month delay or with doing it, the math might not work out. Right. And I just want to have that conversation with everybody where we're talking about the difference between revenue and profits. People understand, and like when we start talking about business, don't get one thing confused with the other.
Okay. Don't
get one thing confused with the other. So, again, guys, you want to call in or you got a question or anything, make sure you just call into the show. The call-in number 678-740-9894. Again, the call-in number is 678-740-9894. The difference between revenue and profits. By definition, when we look at revenue is the total amount of money generated by a business from its normal business operation, typically from the sale of goods and services from a customer, right? So that's pretty much what we mean, just to make it easy. Revenue is just the money you pull in for your business.
Okay.
When you sell something, when you do a service to somebody, you cut their grass, you wash their car, you build a porch, anything that's sold, anything money that comes in, that's revenue.
Okay.
That's revenue. Revenue and sales is pretty much the same thing.
Okay.
Right? That's just it. Money coming in. So we hear that. What's going on, Savage Mr. PR? Shayna T.
What's going on?
Going on. So those things, when people hear those terms, I think sometimes they get kind of lost, especially when we start talking about that revenue aspect. So what I always try to get people to understand when you start talking about sales, don't get caught into that. Get caught into what it takes you to make a dollar. What I always say to people, we start off at the cost. When we start talking about business and everything like that, we don't never want to look at what we're selling, because at the end of the day, if people say, "Hey man, you're pretty good at selling cakes. You do pretty good with making these drums. Hey man, you ought to start your line business and all that." I always say the first thing, start off with your cost. What is it going to cost you to be able to make it?
Right.
We start, and people, I really want y'all to understand that, because I've been accused of being a dream killer and all this other stuff over the years. It's not that. The math still got to work, right? The math got to work. And so a lot of times when I say that is because at a particular point in time, if you selling cakes for $25, but then we start turning around where we start looking at flour, yeast, butter, sugar, packaging, and all that other stuff. The cake sell for $25, but it costed me almost $20 to make a cake per cake, right? Because if I buy it back, again, guys, it's simple math again, and that's why I think people avoid math or avoid calling a person like me that can kind of help break that stuff down, because they don't want to be accountable. It's like, no, they hating. I don't want to look at being negative,
right?
But just think about it, guys. If you ever want to look at a per cost, you don't know how to get per cost,
right? If
you look at a bag of flour, you know how much flour it takes to make one cake. Only thing you gotta divide that bag of flour to know how many cakes you can make for that one bag of flour. So that's your per cost. You can get your per cost for the cakes with that one bag of flour. So if it's 2 pounds, and it's gonna take you maybe a pound and a half to make a cake, you already know how much that one bag is gonna cost you.
Right.
So I always want people to kind of look at that cost per cost with doing it, between the transportation or postage or whatever, and you got that cost. Now, from the next phase, you just got to say, okay, from a price standpoint, can I charge a price on top of this where I can make some kind of a profit?
And that's the fine line right there.
Exactly.
Because we watched the show the other day, and they were talking about food costs and stuff, and they said it's a fine line, and it's like you don't want to price it too high and turn the customers off, but you don't want to price too low and not make no profit. So you gotta have that fine. It's a fine line to walk on what price to charge for something.
But that's going back to we did the video. I did a video and I've had snippets on it on TikTok and YouTube. As far as go to Mr. Short on YouTube and look up how to calculate pricing.
Right.
It still go back to the cost. Like you just can't throw out an arbitrary to your point. You just can't throw out an arbitrary number,
right,
and say these are my prices.
Right.
The price is based off the cost.
Right.
Either you do an add to the unit cost or a percentage up for the unit cost. You have to do that. You can't be selling shit that for less than what it costs you to make the stuff.
I'm making hot dogs for $5 a hot dog. I'm selling them for $2.
Yeah, but you get my point.
I get it.
We have to derive that number first. So and that's very important, everybody,
right,
because far too often people go through with the strategy. Look, well, Sam's selling for this, Walmart got it for this, or these other places got it for that. I'm going to sell them for that because you figure it's more important for you to come in cheaper, and people will come to you being cheap. Remember this, guys. I want you to understand is, just in business, if you come in as a cheap person, people are always going to view you as what?
Cheap.
A cheap person.
Right.
That's why they came to you.
Right.
So it's not going to be as easy as you think it is to increase your prices when you start getting attraction from people, right? You start getting attraction. You start increasing your price when people start coming for whatever reason. Now that loyalty disappears and they go back to other folks. If you're gonna charge that, I might well go to Walmart.
Right.
I might well go to KFC, whatever, because you charge what they charge. At the end of the day, guys, the math got to work. The math got to work. So remember what I said, when we start talking about pricing, we start at the unit cost first. What it takes you to do a particular task, what it takes you to make a particular product, and then move up from there. Like I said, check out the video that we did on Mr. Short Dollar on how to set pricing 101. I went through the whole gamut in regards to the formula where you can just look at it, the uptick on the unit cost perspective, or if you want to do the percentage increase. Savvy Blizzard PR says, okay, real talk. Do most business dreamers even really know the cost until they start doing biz with real volume? By then, they likely have gone on the red. Do you recommend seeking investors? To answer the first question, good end. The question was, do most business dreamers even know about cost till they start doing it or anything. No, I don't think most do.
No.
I don't think most do it, but I will say this. What I found to realize from personal experience, when people start looking at numbers and start doing that kind of stuff, it's they avoid it because numbers do what? Numbers make you accountable.
Right.
And I think people would rather feel that they could when they're looking at numbers, they're looking at facts. That kind of stuff can is like hate or it's like being negative.
Okay.
So listen, I'm not going to worry about what all that stuff say. I'm just going to push it and push it and push it. But we understand when you start looking at your major companies, Fortune 500 companies, all you looking at any kind of major successful company, they put hundreds of millions of dollars in the research and development because they got to know what pricing and costing is and stuff like that.
Right.
The math got to work. I can't, like you just said, I cannot sell a hot dog for $3 that is costing me $5 for.
Right.
It just won't survive.
Yeah.
And I think when people are selling their cups or selling their juices and stuff, now I'm gonna be very honest with you with something, right? Let me get to the second part of the question. How the hell can these people you see on the internet just like me? How the hell can these folks say a $10 plate of food?
Right.
Looks delicious. You see it on Instagram.
Right.
You see it on TikTok. The food is about to bust out. And it's over $10. Your unit cost for that plate is probably $12 to $15.
Right.
And why the hell are you selling for 10?
They want people.
Everybody get a good deal. And they don't get that. Why? And they just want, and what happens is it's a line around the corner. It's a line around the corner, and they making money. They sitting there putting in the carriage. We're doing good. But they never analyzing at the end of the day how much money, from the unit cost, or even after they pay their bills, how much money they making. They just got what? They got money coming in and stuff.
Right.
People don't really start looking at this stuff to that income tax time, or they want to get some kind of loan where they want to expand, or they want to get something on the personal side, like a house or car, something like that. People function all the time. They busy, but they're not making profits.
Right.
That makes sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like just thinking when you and true restaurants, they look at there is a per cost per the chicken, the this, that, and it's a certain size it has to be. And at the end of the day, that's what it costs. And they've upmarked it from there, right? Like I said, if they've done like a dollar amount or they've done like a percentage amount, however, but the math got to work, right? When you start looking at everything dumping in and stuff like that, I know there's no math in that,
right?
But I'm not trying to cheat the people. But now you ain't cheating on people. You're gonna cheat the people when you close your ass down,
right?
After you sat there and lost your car, barely keeping your house and all this stuff, trying to keep your business open because pride and ego. Or whatever, but your money ain't there.
Right.
And we gotta be smart about that, right? The second part of the question is, do you recommend seeking investors? At the end of the day, what we know about investors, they want to know the key with investors is if I give you my money,
when I'm getting my money back.
Well, plus, what are you going to do with the money? Are you going to make enough to pay me back?
Right.
An investor is not going to be so keen unless it's just like a cousin or family member giving you money. But a true investor is just like the bank. They want to know that if they give you X amount of dollars and they charge you X amount rate on it, how much money can you make to give them their money back? At the end of the day, they're going to want to see the numbers.
And they're going to want money on top of what they gave. They
but that's what I'm talking about.
Your money back.
That's what I'm talking about. They got this the rate we're going to charge, and this is what I want back.
Right.
On top of it, I gave you 5, I want 7 back. However we want to do the deal. But can you generate enough? And you got to be able to explain it. So you turn around saying, well, I'm just going to sell these and not just throw out an arbitrary number. I'm going to sell so many of these, I can make this kind of money. Like you selling it for $7 a piece. I get that. But it's costing you $6 to make.
Right.
You're only making $1 profit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to sell to make, and people don't think about that. So I think if people want to seek out investors, I think people need to understand what investors want to see. Again, like I said, and the best way to get it, you get some kind of consulting. You get some kind of consulting, join different, get a mentor, join different groups where you can just bounce ideas off people. But it's when you get in the business, a lot of time we get in the business off 2 things. I always say people not necessarily want to be in business, they want a job, pay them some more money.
Right.
Or they have a skill set that they have, like, okay, cool, let me just try to do that. And some people just natural entrepreneurs, but those kind of 2 things where people normally weren't into it, they get into it. And I think what they find out real quick is that their interest or their skill is great, But we start going to that back office, the marketing, the finance, the accounting,
The
and all that
conversation's
stuff.
different.
All that stuff, that's a whole different world. And what happens is, instead of addressing it, people avoid it, or they'll get their girlfriend, or they get their wife or husband or child to do it because they don't really understand the importance of it, and the business suffers and it
Right.
crumbles. You see that in businesses all the time where they don't want, and I don't really necessarily say, oh, it's about paying people.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily know if there's any correlation being able to pay somebody more money that they're going to do better. I just think people don't necessarily want to seek the right people,
Right.
because the right people a lot of times tell you
Our
something.
dream killers like you.
Yeah, exactly. The right people gonna tell you something that you really don't want to hear,
Right.
and I think people don't necessarily want that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Slick was saying you need to have an idea though about what it takes when you're profiting your revenue. She said you need to have an idea of what it costs, what it costs you per unit to make, sell, or whatever that item. She said you need to have an idea.
No, you don't need to have an idea. I mean, it can't be an idea. It gotta be a fact. you have to know, man. I'm being serious. So we start talking again. We're talking about the difference between revenue and profit. We just said by definition that revenue is the total amount of money generated by a business from its normal business operations, typically from the sale of goods and services to customers. And with a profit by definition, also be known as net income and net profit, is the amount of money that remains after all your expenses, including operating costs, taxes, interest, and other expenses, have been subtracted from the revenue. So that's your bottom line number. And typically, when we start to look at getting loans and things like that, that's what your lenders and investors, they're looking at that number. They're looking at that number because you can sell a company that sells 100 items and generates $100,000 in total revenue. Isn't, and a company that sells 10 items and generates $100,000 in total revenue, one is busier than the other.
Right.
That bottom line number,
the one
that's selling 10 items, they got a net profit if they pay payroll, your fixed costs, being your rent, your insurance, things like that, and other things. They're bringing home $30,000.
Right.
At 10,000 revenue, they just sold 10 things. At $100,000 in revenue, but they sold 10 items.
Right.
But they're bringing home $30,000 in profit after everybody's paid. But the one that sold 100 items and they made $100,000 in revenue, but they only had $15,000 in profit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was a cost for them being busy.
Right.
You say, well, look, man, how they sell less? They don't have to be the same product. We're totally different industries. But the whole point of it is, that's why I say don't get traffic confused with profits.
Right. You got to pay for that traffic.
Traffic
is a cost.
What I told you all the time, people try to get it twisted, and I'm on different boards and different organizations. I tell people all the time, you want to generate some money. One of the easiest things you can do is to get you a little damn $200 TV from Walmart, pay about $100 for some tickets, and have your damn raffle.
Right.
Man, you have your damn raffle, and you can make probably $20,000-$30,000 every quarter. Just doing, just from being honest with you. Yeah. So, because I've done promotions, and I understand getting a venue, paying an artist, security, and all that stuff may cost you around about $5,000 to $10,000. Just say you're holding a wall, local club, or something like that, right? You spend that $10,000. However you done promoting, you sit there with the actual restaurant or bar. Hey, they keep the liquor, you keep the dough. You might have made $15,000.
Right.
You $15,000. It costs you 10. You bring home $5,000. Cool. At the end of the day, you hope that happens.
Right.
It rains. Police, fire marshal come in saying enough people, and you only make around about 8 or 10,000.
Okay.
Hey, you ain't got no money to pay the artist if you did it on the back end.
I'm
just saying,
right.
There are so many things that you're
variables that you don't count.
Man, and I'm talking about even with a person that have been part of galas, where you don't pay these hotels and all this other AV and all these other people. You've accumulated a cost $40,000,
right?
And then you turn around, have around about let's say $50,000 in revenue, and everybody like, wow, this is a success.
No,
it took you that much money to make 10,
right?
But like I said again, there are some things you can do. Hell, you don't have to get a headache, like I said with a raffle and stuff. So we have to understand that busy is not always the best way about being it. And again, that bottom line number, again, guys, remember, profit is the number that's left out from the expenses. I mean, after when all the expenses, taxes, interest, all that stuff is subtracted from your revenue. That profit is that bottom line number. And like I say, guys, when you're actually looking to get funding from from lenders, investors, and stuff, that's what they're looking at.
Always,
that's what they're looking at. And if you self-employed, guys, that's a little little free tidbit. Most of the time, the lenders, they're looking at that profit that you have. They divide it by 24 months, and they're looking at that's your net income. I mean, that's your monthly income. We're doing it. So a lot of you people out there that are self-employed, or have your business that want to write off everything so you get a bigger refund. That should have come back and bite you in the butt when you want to try to get you a house.
Right.
And they want to get 2 years of it, and you've been writing off all this stuff to show this loss, and now you want to go buy a house and get a car. Now you actually did have a company that was doing okay.
Right.
But because you didn't want to pay any taxes on it, or you want to get this refund, and now this detriment is holding you up from getting that car, getting that house, or getting any kind of additional funding. So you got to be kind of mindful of that. As we start talking about that profit,
right?
With doing it, don't be so caught off, because there's a cost for success, guys. And so don't be so quick to want to avoid. I don't want to pay this in taxes. I don't want to get this to the IRS and everything like that. At the end of the day, sometimes the money you have to pay the IRS, or you got to pay some taxes and stuff like that. Guys, that still can open doors for you to do other things.
Right.
Like you want to get that car, you want to get that house, you want to get additional funding, you want to get contracted. That can blow up in your face. You want to get some kind of contracts. You've had this cleaning, the janitorial company for years. You had this landscaping company for years. You're doing okay, but you want to write everything off, but you want to get government contract. They're like, look, man, we can't get this. You already showing that you're not even,
right,
sufficient what you're doing. You're already making, 6 figures and with revenue you already have, and you're still making a loss. Why would we want to get into a situation where your people might quit?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta think like that.
People don't think that far. See, people don't think that far ahead. Which they don't think about the contracts or what the investor gonna say or what the bank might say. It's about right now and what we got to do for this business today, not tomorrow.
Yeah,
most business owners think that way.
Most do, until something, they get to a certain point, they want to grow and everything.
Right.
But that's why I want people to understand, like, you have one is not the same. And I used to remember seeing a lot of videos, especially during the pandemic, guys on the truck, and I just made 4,000. I made 5,000. They hold them checks up, but that was the revenue.
Right.
But they ain't showing how much they paid in fuel.
Right.
They ain't showing them, what the busted axle they had to get fixed when they were driving through Oklahoma.
Tire.
Yeah, they're not showing that.
The $2,000 busted seal.
Yeah, well, but that's what you get what I'm saying.
Right.
And you're on the other side of the country. You got to get back to Georgia. Right. Man, that stuff. I mean,
so now you got a hotel because the truck place ain't gonna be able to repair your truck for 2 days because it's Friday.
Yeah,
and they closed.
Exactly. And that $5,000 check you made really might only be $400-$500. And what happens a lot of times, I tell people, you really do shit but change jobs.
Right.
One that you the owner of instead of work for somebody, but the money you're bringing in is the exact same. Now you tell people with the checks and the revenue you're bringing in, hey, I'm making $100,000, $200,000 in this company.
Right.
But after everything's paid, it's still what? $30,000, $40,000, $50,000.
Right.
Shit you were making at that job.
Right.
Now, if you say I want the freedom, cool. But at the end of the day, sometimes the thing we flex for or moving to, it ain't gonna be. It's not gonna be the same. But you also had a headache on top of that that you didn't have before.
It's all your responsibility now.
Yeah, and it's just something to keep in mind. Savage Blister PR says, not to be a naysayer, but I'm sorry, not to be a naysayer, but when should a small business owner opt to bow out and call it quits? Dreams deflated don't make people failures. I don't necessarily know if it is a certain time to say, hey, listen, this isn't working. But I will say this. If you see the ship sinking and you don't see a raft on the horizon, I think you need to be smart about certain things. And I'm just I'm gonna sit here and just kind of be hypothetical. I was approached with a deal today. Deal, somebody finna lose a piece of property, and at the end of the day, I'm telling them, like, look, you finna lose this.
Right.
I can come in at cost and maybe give you something on top of it.
Okay.
But you're not gonna be able to keep it. It's gonna be mine.
Right.
I'm saying this. At the end of the day, I understand you need to pay this stuff off. You're about to lose it. I'm not a bank. I pay whatever you owe them.
Mhm.
Maybe give you a little bit. Well, I would give you a little bit on top. It ain't gonna be what you want,
Right.
but you finna lose it regardless.
Right.
You can lose it and get a little bit in your pocket, or you can lose it and somebody else get this stuff. You ain't got a damn thing to show
Right.
for it.
Right.
And folks just be all like, I don't want pride. Here go pride. Here go ego. All this other kind of stuff. You when you go to
Way
take
the
a
other.
hey,
It's
when you
gonna
go
be gone.
nowhere the other.
Right.
But when you gonna take an L, you gotta be smart about what kind of L you gonna take.
Right.
And at the end of the day, I know what it is. Like, no, I don't want to do this. I want it that way. You can't get help and legislate the people how they gonna help you.
Right.
You can't
get
tell
help. You can't get help the way you want.
No, exactly.
It's always
Exactly.
got to be a contingency, and people gonna help you the way they want to help you because they're the ones just giving the help.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now. And that's the thing about it. For you to come to me, that means you ain't went to the bank, you went to your family, all the resources gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I can get it. It's mine.
Right.
I put something in your pocket.
Right.
But I ain't finna be sitting there. No, hell no. But when I said a mood change, whoa. I heard a whoa.
You a
Whoa.
dream killer, fool.
Nah, shit, ain't no damn dream killer. Nah, I said what I said.
Right.
But a lot of times to answer that question, when should people back out of it? I think when you're gonna go through rough patches in business, and sometimes you may have to do some things that are uncomfortable. May have to change some stuff, move money from one place. You may have to go in and put in some of your personal things in there. But you got to be realistic about listen, is things on the way to change.
Right.
Because we've heard all the success stories. I remember Damon John say he burned his furniture. You heard some folks say it, all of a sudden things happen. And that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are a lot more stories of people that held on longer.
Right.
And they lost their homes, their families, and some of them even lost their lives because of the stress they put on themselves for trying to hold on something that wasn't working.
Right.
And I just think that a lot of times we know if we too deep into something, we're not gonna be able to do this.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to make X amount of dollars to do that, and even if you say to go to people, because I don't think it's cool. I don't won't get too far off subject. I don't think it's cool to go asking people for money and your ass can't pay them back. I don't think it's cool to do that.
Right.
Because a lot of times if I come to you on the strength of, hey, lab, I need this, you gonna have some consideration.
Right.
Because we people.
Right.
But I know I ain't got no way of paying your ass back.
Right.
But I'm just trying to prolong what I'm doing.
Right.
And I don't think they're cool about that.
Right.
I'm in a position, probably more from experience standpoint, I can read like, where you at? And I know what question to ask. Where you at with everything, bro? When how you gonna pay me back? Because like some people may blindly give it to you off your words.
Right.
I don't do that.
Right.
Hey man, what do you have coming in? What's going on with this, that, and that? And I can say, wait, well, I don't think you better pay me back. Right. And that's even kind of like what I was saying. The thing I know they wasn't in the capacity to pay me back. I know they weren't on their best day.
Right.
So I'm not lending you nothing. I will buy it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I buy it.
But I don't think people look at that big picture when you say stuff like that. When you come to them and say, I'll buy it, you're going to lose it regardless. You get what I'm saying?
Put something in your pocket.
Right.
Put something in your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Slick said people will go without before seeing someone else with their stuff. So, like, that's true.
Well,
I'm not going to let you buy, but I'll let him buy it.
But where nobody's buying it.
Look, again, say you had the opportunity to, I lost it because Poochie didn't help me, or whatever the case, or Lab didn't help me, but Lab had the opportunity to help me. He chose not to.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, stupid ass didn't want to sit there and sell it to me. Trying to right. I ain't gonna disagree with you. Damn right.
Right.
I wasn't trying to, but people gotta be smart.
Mm-hmm.
I done took L's before Lab.
Right.
I done took L's.
My favorite story.
Hey, studio.
Studio.
I done took L's before. I look, this isn't going anywhere. It was just this coming out. That was just it. That was it. Like, look, man, we ain't happy.
Mm-hmm.
At the end, when I closed the salon down, man, I didn't have no enthusiasm, no interest of dealing with the salon and stuff. And let me close this damn thing down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't even breaking my
for that went away.
When the women leave, I used to be, early into it. Yeah. Hey, I'm posting out the yin yang. I get new stylists coming in. Mm-hmm. By the time the EMA ain't give a damn. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I ain't caring. I forget to put tissue up there, all kind of stuff. Hey, you can't have no salon, no tissue.
Right? Not at all.
Oh, Lord.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that small business owners should analyze where they're at least maybe once or twice once a month or every 90 days, analyze where they at and see if they need to say to themselves, you know what, I've been doing this is not working. I may need to shut this down, think of another way, maybe revamp and come back later on a year or so away, because it's just not gonna work. And I don't see, if I wait another 90 days, it's gonna be worse than it is today.
Well, depending on what kind of business you have, sometimes you might have to look at your financials on a daily basis. Depending on, even just some fast food restaurants, keep in mind they have to kind of keep in mind how many people they got on the clock,
right,
and how much money they're doing. But on the least, you should look at it on a monthly basis.
Right.
But to your point about, saying, okay, we're going so long about it, I need to rethink if I'm gonna keep this going. It depends. And the reason why it depends on it because some projects are going to take weeks.
Right.
Some going to take months. Some is going to take a year. That makes sense, right? So you got to be realistic about what you're doing. That's why I think it's so important when we try to go into business, we need to have some kind of experience. There's nothing wrong with opening up a restaurant. You're not familiar with a restaurant, but I do think you probably need to do a little part-time at Applebee's or Long John Silver or some restaurant that, just kind of get an idea from an operational standpoint, how things go as far as the greeting, the actual supply chain side of it, how, from walking in the door to sitting down, for somebody coming and taking their order, order going in the back, cook, deliver to them, how long to eat, what time, and them getting out the door. Like, you need to have some kind of concept of that.
Right.
And I don't think a lot of time people think about that with doing it. Because if I keep a packed house, and now you're saying, well, people, everyone, it's a 1 hour minimum, and it's cool when it's a fad.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. I get what you're saying.
When it's a fad and everybody breaking out, we waiting around the corner. But after a while, folks get tired, or they get what? Another option.
Right.
They ain't studying that shit no more. I ain't waiting there no more. Hell, they got a new spot around the corner.
Right.
And
you see,
you see how much people have loyalty to your business with doing it. So I think sometimes people have to kind of be realistic about what they're doing.
Right.
And, I can look at myself, for example. Tax office in Riverdale. I know what I could probably say. Deontay making only do 300 returns a tax season.
Okay.
Right.
Right.
There is no reason for me to be sitting there trying to market to Metro Atlanta.
Right.
Right. I don't need to do that.
We had this conversation.
You know what I'm saying? So if I can just get 700,000 people in the city of Riverdale. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But I understand. I just got to get 1%. Just be serious about coming to me, and that's good. I don't need to advertise all over the city of Atlanta. I got all these people flooding my place,
right?
And man, I got a line around the corner because we know that when people see a line, it look good for social media,
right?
But people renege. I ain't hungry. I want to go here.
Right.
People reject it. Like that now they saying, look, they turn their mind, you turn around and don't come back. Sometimes you just see it and then they talk negative about it. So you got to kind of, some people stand in line for doing it, but everybody's not going to do that. And again, it's cool when it's a trend.
Consistent basis either.
Well, like I said, if you go in town, okay, cool, let's wait. But don't get that shit twisted. Like I said, people just need options. And you're in a city called Atlanta, man. Hell, they're
restaurants open.
Yeah, exactly.
We all rich and famous.
That's all people need,
right?
You know what I'm saying? You find out how unique your cups, your jewelry, your hats and stuff is. When folks gotta get options and everything, it's just people sway away from that,
right?
So that's why it's so critical when we understand the difference between revenue and profits. Because again, we're looking at revenue looking at just measure the total income that's generated, from that company. We gotta understand that. We start looking at profit, gonna measure the financial gain after all those expenses are paid. You got to understand the difference. Key thing with what I said, guys, remember, what we always start with is that unit cost. What do it cost me to make a dollar?
Right.
You got to know that.
We did that and when I got my master's in the business class, and they said, all right, and you probably did it too because you did the same thing. And they probably say, okay, guys, y'all gonna make a business and y'all got to decide what the business is gonna be. But I need to know the unit cost, and I don't mean the unit cost per unit. I need to know how much the screw costs. This is what he was saying. I need to know how much the screw costs to put it together. I need to know how much your time costs, or whoever you pay costs to put it together. I need to know what the internal or all the gears. If it's 5 gears, I need to know what each gear costs. I need to know once you put it together, you need to know how long it sits on the shelf. You need to know what avenue you're gonna go to sell it. You need to know the cost of SKUs or whatever you're doing. I need every cost of this item. I need the cost per unit, and not just. And I need it broken down on the spreadsheet.
You know the funny part about that, Lab? I think the vast majority of people that are educated in business schools don't go into entrepreneurship.
Right.
If I go to corporate America, private business and everything. And I think most of the people that go into entrepreneurship, they're not educated.
Right.
They have a skill set.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
They good at this.
Yeah, right. but they're not educated on that. So that's why you don't have too many people that get into it and they're looking at it like, let me look at the cost. They just try to sell and do. I'm cutting all these yards. I'm building all these fences. And I understand that probably the thing that they do the least of, or the thing they least like to do, maybe making the most money from a profit standpoint with doing it. But they're the most busiest with one thing with doing it. But they do 10 of these to make net $100 profit. But they can do 2 of these and they're the same thing, but they just don't like doing them. Well, you might want to refocus with doing certain stuff.
Yeah, like one of the main things that came up after the pandemic was people making T-shirts. Everybody was making T-shirts and buying presses to make T-shirts. And I look at the T-shirts and I said, okay, how much does the T-shirt cost? And I don't want the regular Glidden T-shirts that's real thin. I'm talking about quality thick T-shirts. How much they cost? Okay, I need, if I buy in bulk, how much more see, people don't realize when you buy in bulk, that's why the Walmarts and the Sam's Club can sell a hot dog for $2 because they are buying for the collective. So if you got 200 Sam's Clubs and all 200 of them are buying from this one hot dog vendor, they're gonna get a better unit price because they're buying in bulk.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? People don't realize that bulk price. I'm gonna give you before I go back there, I'm gonna give you one good example. A lot of people say, well, why do these Chinese own so many black what they call it? Beauty supply stores. Well, a few years back, the Chinese guy was saying, well, you know what we do? All of us get together. It doesn't matter if the guys across the street, we'll get 15 of us together as a collective and go to the supplier and say, hey, it's 15 of us gonna buy this hair shampoo from you, but we want to pay $1 per unit. Then when they put it on the shelf, they sell it to us for $15 or $5 a unit. You get what I'm saying? But they do it as a collective, in bulk, and that's why they're able to have so many stores. And some of them be profitable, some of them may not be as profitable, but they're profitable because they're going in as a conglomerate together in one unit and buying in bulk.
Well, Lab. Well, I don't want to give a subject, but that was a consulting gig I did almost 15 years ago with a black beauty supply store. Where they paid. Well, I went and did that whole research for them with that, and that was the biggest thing. Like I told them, I said, man, you gonna have to find other black business beauty salons, beauty supply stores in Metro Atlanta. Y'all gonna have to order like that, or find them in the region, might be Metro Atlanta, and y'all gonna have to order like that because mathematically, you can't pay $1 for this grease and want to, and nobody's. We can get into all that black love, support black business, but why would I pay $5 for some grease? And I'm just throwing out a number, but I can go to the Asian place and it's $3 because I love my black businesses. Like you can't even buy enough.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And the brother was saying to me, well, if they buy more, I bet no, they won't. Because at the end of the day, the volume that you're buying just not going to be sufficient enough. But to that point, that's why people I'm sorry I get off the subject, Lab, but that's why people got to be very, very conscious of understanding costs. Costs dictate everything.
Everything.
And at the end of the day, just because, a cost is high, you might just can't charge a price that's going to be feasible for you to be able to sell. Now, if you say, we're a premium or high-end car restorer, furniture maker, this, that, and that, you can justify however you want to pitch it or sell it. But again, you gotta know exactly those costs and then where you want to fit into the grand scheme of things, where you're going to be listing your prices.
Right.
But unfortunately, I know a lot of black-owned businesses go into it as I want to just their entry strategy into the market is let me be a little lower than the market or be whatever, but again, the costs just don't work out with it.
Right.
That's why so many restaurants close. Like I see the guys, they look how much food you get.
Right.
And you doing like that's not. It's cool for social media and it's cool for the customer to get full, but the math ain't working.
Right.
It's not working. Food is high as hell.
Very high.
And so at the end of the day, if I'm not charging the price to recoup my costs for this food and make a profit on top, and a profit that's substantial enough for me to pay payroll, pay rent, pay insurance, get more food and stuff like that, pay for advertising. I ain't gonna be in business long. And that's why you see so many black-owned restaurants close. Because they don't understand that side of it. You know what I'm saying? That's the damn reason why, right?
Yeah. Even in this business that we do here, people may not know it, but I know exactly how much it costs for me to run the electric, the internet, everything, the per unit cost, per hour cost, kilowatt hours. I know all that. I don't broadcast it. I don't even tell Slick I know, but I know it.
Yeah.
I know what it costs. Because I do it all the time. I've been doing managing properties and all that stuff with companies for a long time. I know it. I don't blast it out and say, it costs this, but I know it. I know what it costs to run the place. I know what it costs per unit. I know, and I know it because it's just something I need to know.
A lot of time with what you just saying that, and they kind of answered that first question you asked earlier, why people might be so much disinterested. When you start getting what you can deem maybe information overload in regards to, man, it's not interested in whatever, I don't want to go into it. That's why people, and that's one of the biggest detriments, because people don't want to know and they're not interested. You start looking at, look, man, to sell this bike I'm selling for $50. And we start looking how much the frame costs, how much the tires cost, how much, the inner tools, the seats. Then we start talking about packaging and shipping and all this other kind of stuff. That $50 bike might be $48, to make.
Right.
And that's why I say a lot of times when people will say, you hear the whole thing where people are arguing about stuff getting done in China and stuff like that. The flip side of it is, were you willing to pay for the uptick in price?
Right.
What was the biggest thing people were talking about a couple of years ago? We need a living wage. Pay us this, pay this. These companies are making this much in revenue. But at the end of the day, like we look at whatever that number, what did it cost to make that? Because we know at the end of the day, when things start going up, when you want price, certain costs to go up, the price gonna go up. Then everything still, I'm sorry, wrong, but damn, it's still gonna go back to the end customer.
Right.
So we started paying everybody $15 an hour. Now you don't went from a $5 to a $10 burger, and it is what it is.
And that's what it is now. It's like $10. Like meals that you used to get, like the dollar menu. They don't do dollar menu no more. It's not profitable. It doesn't make the bottom line. And back. So I'm just saying, but they don't. Right. But yeah, they don't even do supersize no more. And people haven't noticed the phasing out of stuff like that because it's just not profitable.
Who the hell just closed?
Red Lobster supposed to be in bankruptcy.
Yeah, because the shrimp.
But you know what that was, though?
What's that?
The company that bought them from the other company was a shrimp distributing company, and they flooded those restaurants with the shrimp, not thinking of that people just probably not going, and they were having that endless shrimp thing, and it wasn't profitable. So it's not just Red Lobster going out of business, but the company that owns Red Lobster is going out of business because they wasn't making profit from the shrimp that they was making Red Lobster sell, endless shrimp.
But you know what though? Like, how long do it take you to figure it out? How long do it take you to figure out this thing not working? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. A lot of time with life, we would say this. This business concept ain't working. This relationship ain't working. This diet ain't working.
Right.
All this kind of stuff. But people like, I'm just gonna keep hanging it up.
Right.
Maybe gonna see some change. That shit never changed.
Never changed.
And sometimes we gotta see and be real. What I said, like, look, this thing ain't working. Savage Bliss PR said Red Lobster went under due to the unlimited shrimp. But I still go back.
Chili's supposed to be doing the same thing.
Who?
Chili's.
What they got unlimited with?
They don't have unlimited anything, but they're supposed to be going back.
Is that model? I can see it. Like, I'm just saying, like, when you go in a lot of these places, I'm pretty everybody's seen, like, the wait times increasing. Even depending on where they're, if they got a staff that's actually going to be trying to, active actively waiting on you, see if you want to buy other drinks, if you
Right.
want to get through that, if you got a good experience, or even from a retention standpoint, want to come back because you had a great experience. Nah, a lot of that stuff isn't there.
Right.
A lot of that stuff isn't there, man. And I think people really underestimate that side of it. When we start looking at it, and I always tell people, and I got a whole business 101 series coming up, guys. We're gonna have a webinar coming up within the next 60 days. I'm gonna go through the whole business 101, what I'm gonna break down different things, the facts you need to look at from a business owner. So that'll be coming out in the next 60 days. Also, we're gonna have my your annual check for your business webinar coming out also, and that's more so like it's gonna be on a smaller scale. We'll have a group of people come in, and we're gonna just look at your particular business. It's gonna be like an annual physical.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna stick the finger up your butt. We're gonna actually, look at your financials, just try to see the health of your business, where it at, and things you can do, just like if you got a prescription, what you need to do to get your business in better shape. So that's two: the business 101 and the actual annual checkup.
Okay.
Of course, both of the webinars, both of those will be coming out soon. But I just think people just need to kind of just be realistic about where they are, what they they're always trying to find new and innovative ways to make money, new and innovative ways to attract and acquire customers. So if you got, you on a smaller scale, why wouldn't you be trying to do that?
Right.
We're just gonna open and post on Facebook.
It works sometimes.
I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'm on the other side. I'm on the other side in regards to just being in business, like kind of say, man, like I'm an old man and everything, and I'm kind of like, unless the boys come on in, I ain't really hit like, hey, let's grow this. But I always go back to about 8 years ago when I went to that mastermind group with the tax business. Man, that shit changed my whole way I was doing a lot of things.
You always talk about that, how it changed your whole thing.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, there were so many things that I wasn't doing that when I changed it, from an acquisition standpoint, getting new customers, from a retention point of keeping the customer I have and them spreading, from a referral and all that, it was just so much stuff I wasn't doing. And once I started applying them, I seen the difference. And that's why I say sometimes when people doing certain stuff, like it's not 1994 where we, make copies and put flyers on people's damn car in the parking lot.
Right.
I mean, there is so much power in that phone.
It is.
And because sometimes people don't want to pay a couple $100 to attract certain people. Remember, guys, $100 that brings you 2 clients that pay you $100 a month. They can bring you 2 clients that can pay you, let's say, $50 to $75, $50 a month. That's $600 a year.
Right.
So you spend $100 to get 6.
Right.
If you got 2, that's $1,200 a year to your bottom line.
Right.
And in your mind, $1,200 ain't a lot of money. It's $100 you don't spend for it.
Right.
So yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you got to look at it like that. And that might went over some people's head, but at the end of the day, when you start going to the analytics of your business and stuff, you can't just, it ain't just open up, come see me.
I looked at a video on just speaking of how you just said $100 for $1,200. I was looking at a video. A guy was doing they do these little things about certain things like Temu and stuff. He was doing one on Deal Dash. He was saying, how you had Deal Dash on the TV, and they'd be like, I just bought this laptop computer for 4 cents, and he was trying to figure out the how do they make money? How do they make money doing this? And he figured it out. He was saying that when you go on to the Deal Dash, this just go back to the and you bid on it like eBay, but it's not necessarily exactly as eBay. You bid on the item, but you have to pay for bids, and you don't ever, like, say if you like say if you bidding on this, you bidding on every minute. So like you may have 600 bids that you've paid $100 for. Once that $100 runs out, you may buy more and you get more bids. But if you go ahead and buy it outright, you get your bids back, but you don't get your bids back to buy other things. You get your bids back to buy something still on the site. But it just may be a constant. It seems like he said, it seems like the bids never end. Like the bids just never end. It's just constant bidding. And he said he has spent like $2,000 or $3,000 just to see if he wins something.
So you pay for access.
Right. You're paying for access to acquire. Dang, you smart. So you're paying for access to acquire this item. But once you get through with all the bidding and stuff, you may have paid twice as much as the item is worth because you pay for bids, but then you got to pay for the item once you win it. The bids do not pay for the item. So the bids just keep you in the game. It gets you in the queue to bid on it.
So they were like hard to get items or something like that?
No, this is just regular everyday items. But on the commercial, they always say, well, I bought this 900-inch TV for 4 cents. So that's how they draw you in. But never at the bottom do they say, but I had to pay $800 in bids to get this item. You get what I'm saying?
I got you.
Right.
Well, that's pretty clever.
Right.
That's pretty clever doing that. I just about it. I just wonder we're doing it. But that's the uniqueness of it. But to that point,
right.
Just using something to sit here and say to yourself, how can I be thinking outside the box to get more customers?
Slick said people don't even invest in themselves.
Absolutely not.
In their own business. He said we can't even get some of them to buy their own banners. Like you got here, but he said you can't get people to invest in themselves.
Well,
they want to keep doing the status quo.
Well, the thing of it is that I think people have to understand that you can't have certain expectations with mediocre effort. That's why I say I think a lot of time people get in business so they want to be successful. It's a price for success,
right? Be
it your time, be it your money, be it your relationships. Sometimes and I don't think people want to go so far, just like with training and everything, to where it's painful, where it's uncomfortable, and it ain't meant for them to do certain things,
right?
I don't want to miss a meal. I don't want to miss no sleep.
Right.
I don't want to miss my kid game. I don't want to, go without. We're doing it, and until you start ready to make certain sacrifices, you won't see that,
right?
And it is keeping it real,
right?
And it ain't a right or wrong. The problem come up, you just can't have certain expectations if you don't want to make certain sacrifices.
Right.
People know me, know how I get down there in tax season. You know what I'm saying?
Unavailable.
But hey, come June, July, August, hey, it's time to party.
Right. Because you didn't work hard.
But I'm cool with it.
Right.
That ain't meant for everybody. There are a lot of people, man, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that have worked for me over the years. What's up, Chris? See my son, Chris. Chris, come on, take over the business for me, son. I see Chris coming in and everything. There are a lot of people that have worked for me over the years that have left because I know they thinking, well, I see what he making. I gonna get my own software,
right?
And I can do it and everything. And 20-some years, I think only maybe 2 people, let's say out of hundreds of folks, doing okay. Most of them now you can't.
Right.
You can't. And to be honest with you, number one, you ain't got a secret sauce. That being Deontay Burton. That's number one.
Let's start there.
That's a start. But realistically, I don't think people understand it. What I told you for the cost. You ain't paying $2,000 in software. You don't got $1,500 to $2,000 to pay for insurance. You don't want to pay, $2 or $3 a year in Google ads.
And you gotta don't you gotta recertify?
No. Well, with the software. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So you're talking about $5,000-$8,000 on a yearly basis. You got to just pay to stay open.
Right.
Hell, and I might be shortchanging that, right? So you're talking about if you don't, number one, you may say, well, look, I want to charge a little cheaper to get customers in. Now you got to do almost triple the work. When you only had X amount of people already. Right. That you didn't have, you might got to get triple that just to even break even. A lot of times people ain't ready for that. Have I seen it over and over and over again? Over and over and over again. People underestimate certain things. Like, well, look, I know the whole concept. He doing this, I can make that. Right. But they never look at cost. They never look at cost, Lab. They never do.
The cost associated with doing that.
The cost associated with doing, but also the cost that you ain't even acquiring just by getting that commission.
My name show says if you plant one seed, you get one plant. So
plant one seed, you get one plant.
uh-huh.
What do I mean?
I'm not sure. Elaborate on that. My name show.
You know,
I thought you were going to say something. You was like, yeah, and
yeah, my name show, man. You know,
you
I'm a school graduate.
You got APS. You got.
Damn,
you got to elaborate on that a little bit, show.
You got a Crayola there for me.
Right. Spell it out and break it down like fractions.
Now what? I'm damn Lion King quotes. You know, you like, yeah. You stuck on the cliff trying to figure out what he's saying.
He said, jump.
Mufasa said something all over my head. But but all serious.
Oh, you only get out of it what you put in.
Oh, appreciate it.
There you go.
And Thank you. That's it. And you know what? And you might not even get out of it what the hell you put in.
But you know, one of the things you were saying earlier, I wanted to elaborate, but we got wanted to kind of throw my little 2 cents in there. We talking about just being consistent in business, you know, just being consistent with certain things. You know, even with here, you was talking about how people were saying, well, I know what he making. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go get my software. I'm gonna do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Well, that's even with here. Like when we do podcasts, and people say, "Oh, well, you know, lab charge. Let's do podcasts. I can go home, give me a microphone and a computer, and I can do the same thing." But they don't realize all the stuff behind the scenes that you have to do. And then all those podcasters left that thought that they could do it at home. This is just smart. This is a minor thing. I'm not doing it anymore. None of them are still doing it.
Well, what people don't really look at is, and that goes back into business. And I'm just gonna give everybody, just some business tips, just some game for you guys to just take advantage of. When you want to get in business, you have to understand something very, very, very important when you actually want to get into business is that you get paid last.
Mm-hmm.
When your company, and this is one of the biggest things I mean, even kind of go that concept with Robert Kiyosaki talked about in Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's theoretically in business.
Wealthy Bob.
If the company made $10,
mm-hmm.
and after you done paid, Lab, Joe, this, that, and that, and you done brought home $2.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody paid, done what they supposed to do, whatever. You brought home $2, and you're like, man, we made 10. Why the hell I'm just bringing in 2? I should bring in $8 or $10.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do everything.
Right.
But with that $2 you got, it gave you opportunity because everybody else working.
Mm-hmm.
You can make, 3, 4, 5, 10 more of those
mm-hmm.
to bring you those 2.
Right.
And I think what happens a lot of times, people get caught up so much they want to do every damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't paying for this. I ain't paying for that and stuff like that. I can do my own podcast to get all this other shit, but you only got 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And at the end of the day, I think people just want all the money, but you can't do that.
Right.
You can't do that. And that's just in theory how business goes. You got to make sure everybody paid so you can actually be able to grow it. Because now I can grow it because I got the right people in place for us to do it. But folks don't want to deal with it. They read this shit. And they minimize the impact that other people have. They want to have everything. Well, you can do this, you can do that. And until you start actually growing and seeing certain things, you really don't understand it. Because people are quick to tell you, hey, man, why are you paying for this? Why are you paying for I don't have time to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I've had the same landscape for 15 years. I cut my own, I put my own. It's nowhere in the hell mathematically that shit is going to work for me.
That's one of them math problems you broke down for me real quick. I was like, you know what? I pay this guy $60, cut the grass twice a month. I ain't out there for 8 hours. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'll never make the money back that you spent in lawn stuff.
Right.
Now you hit like, okay, I'm 65, getting Social Security check, I ain't working no more, and I want to do it myself. I get it.
Right.
But if you sitting out here trying to make some money, man, ain't got time for that shit.
Right.
Man, them guys be in and out my yard in 20 minutes. They got equipment.
This guy been there about an hour. If I give them to cut the bush, you may take an hour and 30 minutes, but I got a little bit bigger yard, but just in the time and the edge and all that, I'm not gonna do all that. I know I'm not.
Man, and you have your moments. You might be like, look, man, it looked like you did it. You got to take your breaks and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Ain't nowhere near as fish with that. Let them go on and do.
Let them ride the back of that lawnmower, get that thing done, throw it on back truck, get up out of here.
When you truly believe, not you feel, not you hope, not you want. When you truly believe that you that $100 hour person, $200 hour person, $1,000 hour person, when you truly know that and believe that, The movement different.
Right.
When you hope to be that, like, okay, let me do this, that, and that, but I'm gonna catch that. When you just no compromise on that and everything, because I get the calls. Hey man, what y'all charge for taxes? Get the price out. Can't get no.
Right.
What I always say, Lab, the expectation don't drop with the price.
Right. You still gonna want everything.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
That I'm offering with the regular price.
Listen.
The price is the price.
No, this ain't community service over here.
My name show says the bottom line, you can't get a return on nothing. You have to work and invest in yourself. Got
to. Pay for your advertising, pay for your marketing, pay for certain things you don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? I remember, man, back in the early 2000s, I had one of those Google contracts, tried to sue somebody, and I got laughed out the court.
Oh, wow.
Paid about $500 for an attorney to make my contracts, told them what I want to have on there.
Right.
Somebody tried to move on me, I got my money. So I'm just saying, like, certain things, like you try to cut corners, with doing certain stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. It was a girl who just got sued on TikTok. She's a TikTok person, not even a big person, like not even a big influence on TikTok. But she was talking about a restaurant that she had went to and the service that she had got from the restaurant, and the restaurant sued her.
Really?
Yeah. And she lost.
She said she didn't get the service she asked for.
Yeah, she asked for something. The service was terrible when she called the restaurant back and said, "Look, I usually get 3 of these, but I only got 2 this time." And the manager was kind of rude to her. This is per her, not allegedly.
What they got, like defamation suit?
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with that.
But see, my thing is she went to court by herself. She didn't go to court with she didn't get a lawyer. She paid what a couple $100 to get a lawyer.
Well, lawyer probably told she had no defense. That's probably why.
Oh, okay.
Lawyers ain't taking on nothing unless you're gonna pay them a certain amount.
Right.
But that's probably what it probably told us. You may just what we think is the law and what is the law.
Right.
2 old different things. What I got right here, Nisha Nicole says, I really need help. I need $40,000 funding for my business. What don't we all?
Me too.
Well, you know what? I tell you what, Nisha Nicole. The easiest thing I can tell you is to go to the YouTube channel, check out the videos we got on business funding 101. Probably answer some of your early questions, but if you need it any more in depth, I don't give out loans, but I do have a lot of experience on what funding companies may require you to have. Feel free to book an appointment, consultation appointment. If you go to the YouTube channel, in every video in the description, and this for anybody, in the description section of every video we have, there is the contact information to the office, and also if you want to book an appointment, so just go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. You can Google Mr. Short Dollar. You see this handsome face pop up, and go to the YouTube channel. But every one of the videos will have that contact information on there, as far as calling in or actually booking an appointment with doing it. But man, it's been a pretty good conversation. And I think understanding the distinction between distinctions helps in analyzing the company's financial health and operation efficiency. Revenue shows the scale of a business operation, while profit shows the effectiveness in managing costs and generating shareholder value. I always understand the difference, guys. And if you have any, just came in the tail end, or you got any questions later on, feel free. Again, like I just put up before, give us a call at the office, or put in the comments in the videos. If you came in late, go to Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. You can check out this whole video in its full entirety on the YouTube channel and everything. You got anything like that?
Say, hey, your cuz. Hey, cuz.
Which one?
Daniel Parks.
Oh, what's up, T? What's going on, cuz? Appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, guys, if you guys came in, depending on whatever platform, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter. And like I say, guys, I do want to add again, I was one of the main ones campaigning about getting these phones in Misfits Radio.
Right.
And I think I'm about to want to get the least amount of calls.
You're not talking mess, you're talking business.
That's what it is.
That's the difference. You ain't talking business, you're talking business. And they ain't talking mess. Now, if you talk mess, the phone will ring off the hook. Okay. You talk something about relationships and the woman not doing this and the man not doing that phone will ring off the hook.
I got you.
But you talking about sensible business practices and understanding, nobody wants to get on the phone and talk about that.
I got you.
That's just what it is.
That's fair. Now, what's Slick saying?
She don't want to read. She just wants you to tell her.
Oh. Hey, man. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody want that. Want to be. Hey, we just gotta just give us a call at the office.
Right. Right.
But listen, man, I want to tell everybody again. I want to say thanks so much for having us reach those 29,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I mean, it means a lot to me, and I appreciate all the love and support that we've got over the years with the YouTube channel. Continue support my family at Misfits Radio, Misfits, Westside Misfits YouTube channel. Had me out laugh, so I ain't saying shit wrong.
Misfits Radio TV, Misfits Media Group TV.
Make sure,
yeah,
make sure you support everybody with that. And all the other shows when you go to the Westside Misfits channel and all the different shows there, go check them out as well. Got a lot of different shows out there. You guys, they entertain you, inform you, just like Mr. Short Dollar on YouTube. But again, guys, I want to tell you, I really appreciate the love and support. We got a lot more stuff coming up for you guys. We did great in May, and we have a lot more great information coming up for the month of June. And also those courses, and my book will be out soon. I know I've told you guys before. Taxes beat me up in a good way.
It was a good way, right?
Yeah. So we'll prolong a couple of things and stuff like that. But definitely, I appreciate all the love and support, everyone. Y'all take care. Thanks for supporting me, and I'll talk with you soon.